Okay, so it's 7:30, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, which will soon end. And the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the town website, and the information was listed on the agenda. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted. Every effort will be made to ensure public can adequately access meetings in real time. In the event we're unable to do so, we will post on the town of West Newbury website an audio or video recording transcript of the record proceedings as soon as practical after the meeting. Okay. The notice of intent for the lower Artichoke spillway has been continued. The hazard tree management has been continued. Which
isn't Wayne here? Is that what you're here for, Wayne?
No.
No, for the lot 64 on Bridge Street.
I'm here. I'm here for the Middle Street Bridge to listen in on that.
Okay.
Next is the Middle Street Artichoke River Bridge reconstruction. So we received some documents recently, which I confess I have not had an opportunity to adequately go through, but is someone here to present that project?
Is anybody here for that?
Hopefully the consultant is, Sarah should be here.
I'm gonna hit that.
No. Well,
Judy, can we rebounce back to that?
yeah, why don't
Okay.
we, the next on the agenda is 64 Bridge Street. Is there?
Oh, there's Sarah.
There's actually an issue with the link. So I just need to send that around as a matter of fact.
Hi.
Okay, so we will return to the Middle Street Artichoke River Bridge. Sarah?
Believe we were third. I need to let everyone know that the correct link, if you'll give me a few.
Okay. First two were continued.
Apologies. I thought that they were continued towards today.
They have been continued again.
Understood. Give me 1 second. I just need to let Micah know how to.
Judy, is there a better link for this meeting? I'm on my phone, but I'd rather be on my computer.
Molly, you have to go in and you just type in the 916-1960-5954, and then the password is 279926.
Okay.
Try it.
There's a
So
great
all those
link.
letters I just need to delete.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
there's a
Okay.
great link if you go to wnewbury.org to the calendar, meetings calendar. They put the link
Okay.
up above. That was very helpful.
Okay. I went onto the Concom web page.
Yeah, it doesn't work when we click on it. I'm not sure why.
Okay. I'm gonna try something else.
That didn't work?
No, what do I do on the from the web page?
On the web page, it should have the link right there. You should be
Yeah,
able to.
if you go to
Oh, here
wnewbury.org,
it is.
there's the
Okay.
meetings calendar, and today it says
Got it.
Conservation Commission. You click that, and they put the link up above this week.
Okay, that's launching. Good, thank you.
You won't be the green phone.
I know.
All right. So I believe we are all set now. I see Micah joined. So
Oh.
if the commission would not mind, I'd love to share my screen so I can give you some
Sure.
photos again.
Please do.
All right.
Or hit that or anything?
Oh, host disabled participant sharing. Know if that could be either enacted, or I'm happy to email that over.
Can you make
Right here.
um,
Better.
It should say like host. What does it say?
Let's see what more.
I don't know.
Coast.
Yeah,
Jay and I are a little technologically challenged here. Yes. Or I'll speak for myself.
Me too.
Of course, I couldn't even, I do have access now, thank you. Of
Yeah.
course, I wasn't even able to join, so that was my own issue from that too, so apologies.
Just take this.
All right.
Like this?
No, no. Don't do that.
Okay. That should be up in front of everyone now.
yes.
All right, wonderful.
Mm.
I assume everyone in the commission's all sets. I can begin whenever.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, sounds good. So again, as you guys know, my name is Sarah Kreisel. I'm here from the BSC Group representing the applicant, the town of West Newbury. I served as ecological project manager for the project, and I'm here with Micah Morrison, engineering and overall project manager, as well as representatives from the town of West Newbury. The project straddles the municipal line with Newburyport, and an NOI has been submitted separately for the work proposed in the city of Newburyport. The proposed project is for the replacement of the structurally deficient bridge crossing of Middle Street over the Upper Artichoke Reservoir, which was closed in 2018 to vehicular traffic due to undermining of the paved roadway foundation. West Newbury has secured $1 million MassWorks infrastructure grant for the design and construction of the replacement. Newburyport has secured a $500,000 MassDOT small bridge grant for the design and construction of the replacement. The NOI before the commission has been filed for impacts to bank, land under water bodies and waterways, bordering land subject to flooding, the 200-foot riverfront area, and the 100-foot buffer zone to bank within the town of West Newbury as a result of the proposed work. The project was previously presented to the commission on January 25th, 2021. Commissioners from both the town of West Newbury and city of Newburyport met us for a site walk on Sunday, February 7th, 2021. Following discussion with the commissions at both hearings and the site walk, the proposed updates to the design before you today are concessions that the communities have made for increased stormwater treatment along the proposed roadway, which will result in the additional protection of the reservoir. The roadway and bridge were originally constructed over the Artichoke River in 1891. The area was later dammed up and became the Artichoke Reservoir as it exists today. The bridge crossing itself straddles the municipal line between Middle Street, West Newbury, and Plummer Spring Road, Newburyport. The project occurs 0.7 miles east of the intersection with Garden Street, West Newbury, on an existing paved road, which is classified as a rural local road. The nearest house is more than 750 feet away. And while the roadway is flat, removal of some small trees along the slopes down to the reservoir will be necessary for access and construction. The existing structure is a single span earth-filled stone arch and is approximately 14.3 feet wide, 13.2 feet high, and 24.2 feet long. Portions of the bridge, stone headwall, and southeast approach roadway have collapsed, and the paved roadway foundation is undermined. The Upper Artichoke Reservoir flows northerly in an open water area and is bounded by protected forest lands. While bankful width for the Artichoke River is 28.4 feet, as reported by StreamStats, the reservoir itself is much wider. The minimum width for stream crossing standards is 34 feet, but the proposed new clear span is 41.5 feet. The stream bed near the crossing is characterized by sand and cobbles with trace amounts of silt and gravel. The crossing is located within Zone AE for the 100-year storm event at and below the 13-foot base flood elevation. The Artichoke Reservoir is a Class A public water supply and outstanding resource water. There is no rare species habitat in the project area, and neither the Upper Artichoke Reservoir nor the river are EPA impaired waterways nor cold water fisheries. The proposed project is characterized as a redevelopment project, but will preserve undisturbed areas adjacent to the crossing to the maximum extent practicable. The proposed project design complies with the Massachusetts stream crossing standards as required for a limited project under the Wetland Protection Act. The crossing is proposed to be replaced by a precast concrete structure that will follow a similar horizontal and vertical alignment as the existing bridge that will continue to have an open bottom with natural stream bed material. The proposed span length will increase from 14 feet to 45 feet. The overall width of the bridge will be 32.5 feet to accommodate safety improvements, including a sidewalk on the southern side. In accordance with the MassDOT Bridge Manual for a rural local
Okay,
road.
Sarah, can you go back
Yes.
to that other one and explain
Happy to.
what the changes are from the original submission?
Sure, I was actually just going to be getting to that, as a matter of fact. Do you want me to go
Okay.
through that and we can get back to the specifics if there's any details you need?
Okay, you continue. I just, if you're going to address it at some point, that's fine.
Absolutely. I just wanted to make sure. It has been about 4 months since we presented before the commission, so just wanted to make sure everyone had the background information.
Okay.
So in accordance with the the MassDOT Bridge Manual for a rural local road, the proposed bridge has been designed to meet the 10-year flood frequency storm event, can accommodate the 100-year flood frequency storm event, and increases the hydraulic opening by a factor of 2 compared to the existing conditions. Additionally, while the low chord of the bridge will stay the same, the proposed roadway elevation will be 1.5 feet higher, which will help mitigate possible roadway flooding. The proposed bridge will have a slightly larger footprint than the existing bridge, which will improve the openness and span size over the reservoir, which in turn will provide environmental benefits such as proposed wildlife passage and connectivity, and the increased hydraulic opening will better facilitate reservoir maintenance. Proposed impacts to the wetland resource areas have been minimized to the extent practicable, and all temporarily impacted areas will be reseeded with an appropriate seed mix. As a quick summary of impacts to land under water, bank, and bordering land subject to flooding, they will all remain the same as proposed in the original submittal from January 2021, and will be restored, replaced, or even increased to the extent practicable within the project area.
Yeah.
No BVW impacts will occur as a result of this project, as there are no BVWs in the project vicinity. Impact calculations to riverfront area have increased slightly, approximately 74 square feet, with the new water treatment elements, and now approximately 2,060 square feet of permanent impacts to riverfront area are proposed in West Newbury. Temporary impacts in West Newbury will actually decrease 18 square feet from previously proposed numbers as a result of a minor configuration of the stormwater improvements. Erosion sedimentation controls will be installed prior to construction to protect the waterway and will be removed upon completion of the project once the site is stabilized. Work will likely occur behind cofferdams so that the work can occur in the dry, but the exact methodology is up to the contractor. As discussed in our last hearing, the contractor is to prepare dewatering and stabilization plans, and they'll be required to submit them to the Conservation Commission for approval prior to the start of work. The lowest point of the project occurs within the roadway on the West Newbury side of the project area. Currently, the drawings had shown 2 deep sump catch basins at the low point of the project on either side of the roadway that flow to a drain manhole and discharge to a stone splash pad. And our change now, it is now proposed that this deep sump catch basin, that they flow to a 900-gallon water quality treatment unit. And from there, the runoff is directed northwest to a flared end section that discharges towards the reservoir and onto stone. So these are the 2 catch basins, and they will flow to the water quality unit and then onto the flared, the stone end section. The project limits will generally stay the same as what we previously proposed. No additional berm or curbing will be included. Between the deep sump catch basins and the water quality units proposed in both municipalities, more than 80% of the total suspended solids will be removed from runoff captured by the catch basins across the entire project area. So the applicants request that the unique project not be subject to a time of year restriction, as one would greatly impact the proposed project schedule and cost, and due to the nature of the project might result in greater impact to the surrounding reservoir. Winter work stoppage is not a standard construction restriction for MassDOT nor municipal bridge projects. Importantly, as noted, both municipalities have time-sensitive grants in place for design and construction. Additional mobilization and demobilization would negatively impact the schedule and increase costs. Construction scheduling is usually part of the means and methods left to the contractors, as they know the best timelines to meet their schedule and completion deadlines. The more time they spend working on the bridge foundations and abutments within the control of water structures, the more their costs increase, and so they typically want to complete these tasks and stabilize as quickly as practicable anyway. Lastly, during our last hearing, there was a comment from the commission about having a qualified scientist on site during construction for oversight. We propose that the contractor be joined by a qualified scientist on site during special activities that might include a pre-construction kickoff meeting to go over permits, emergency sheet in case of a release, and location of erosion sedimentation controls. The scientist would then review the installed DNS controls and ensure wetland resource flags are in place. We'd like to propose that the resident engineer be in charge of most of the day-to-day oversight during construction and storm events, and that a qualified scientist would then review the engineer reports and make them available to the commission as requested. And with that, I would like to open it up to any questions from the commission.
Well, that was very fast.
Apologies.
No, it's okay. Where are these new water quality units located?
So Micah can probably speak to it a little better than I can, but these are the two catch basins. Can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so these
Are
are
they
the two. I'm sorry?
No, are they the little square things? Is
Yes,
that-
the little squares. Those are the catch basins. So those were as previously submitted.
Right.
And then they are going to flow. This is the water treatment unit, I believe the D, Micah?
Yes.
And
see.
then this would be the stone outflow. So this would be, so basically there had been a manhole here beforehand, and now it's instead going to be the water quality unit.
I have a quick question since Wayne's on the phone. For the water quality unit, do you have to get access to that? And is there a maintenance schedule that's needed to make sure it's maintained properly?
Mika, I assume this is a manhole, correct? I could access it with, I popped the manhole cover off.
Yes, and
Yep.
it would have to be maintained.
Yep.
It's in the specifications, how often. It's mostly going to be how much sediment is in it. So usually what happens is during the first year, it's looked at like every 3 months or so to see how much sediment's building up and try to get maintenance patterns for the structure.
So we might come up with agreement with Newburyport because there's two of them. There's one on their side and one on our side. And Newburyport has a vac truck. They own one. So we do our catch basin cleaning once a year, and Newburyport could do multiple cleanings every year based because they own a vac truck. So we'll reach out to Newburyport and John Eric, because if they're going to go clean theirs every 3 to 6 months, and again, it's only inspection. You might not need to clean it anyhow if there's nothing in it. But we would probably recommend, no matter what the case is, that we clean it once a year like we do our yearly catch basin cleaning, unless it's needs to be done more frequently. But it's not a big deal because Newburyport needs to do theirs too. So
Okay, thank you.
Install them first. I wonder.
At what phase are they going to be installed?
It would probably be towards the later end of the project, just because the way things are situated, the contractor may install it earlier, but my prediction is that it would be towards a later phase of the project.
So it's not going to be used during construction to pick up any sediment from the roadway?
So what measures are you proposing to pick up sediment during construction?
So we would have siltation experiment. Let's see if you can go back
Yeah,
a couple.
right there. Start from, that's the problem with this thing is off to the side here.
Can you go back one more? So that different phases, there's going to be different siltation fencing, and it could be coy logs or sedimentation. Forget the name of them. But that's what's depicted here is during each phase, we'd have the area that's being worked on surrounded by sedimentation, fencing, and I don't know, I'm thinking coy logs, but I forget the exact name.
You mean like 12-inch coils?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on this one, yes.
Proposing having them backed by any silt fence or?
We can do that, yes, we can. That's easy enough to
Groundwater,
do.
what they call that they won't need those catch basins for additional pickup of sediment.
No, not generally.
Which one? Okay.
Looking I just had a chance to start looking at your May submission, and you talked about about the different stormwater standards. And for standard number 2, mitigation measures aren't feasible. So I know it's not one that it's supposed to be met to the maximum extent practicable, and you're saying there is no practicable extent. Is that right?
So which one is this? Would you?
Standard number 2 will result in an increase in impervious area over existing conditions. Due to site limitations, mitigation measures are not feasible to reduce runoff rates. As a redevelopment project, this standard is not applicable. However, the proposed design meets this standard to the maximum extent practicable. But you're essentially saying there is no extent practicable. Is that right?
I did not write this in particular one. The woman who did write it, she is on vacation, but my understanding is that there is going to be an increase in impervious, and so there's going to be more pavement because the road is getting widened. So that has to be done in order to meet the expectations of the project.
Right.
So that we wouldn't be able to alter, but we are adding these units. So yes, we are trying to meet it to the maximum extent practicable. That is my understanding of it.
Okay, but the second sentence says, due to site limitations, mitigation measures are not feasible to reduce runoff rates. So to me, that's saying you can't do it.
We're not going to be reducing the amount of the magnitude of the runoff because we are increasing the impervious. So I think that is what she was referencing there, is that because we are increasing impervious, that we're not going to be able to decrease runoff.
Okay, it seems to me that the water quality units come under standard 4, which again, say as a redevelopment project, it's not applicable, but 2 water quality units will be implemented to improve the water quality of the runoff at the site.
Yes, so we understand that there will be additional runoff, and we are trying to treat it through the water quality units.
Okay. Sarah, you went through what you would propose for a qualified scientist to be on site for. Have you submitted that proposal? Is that included in what you submitted?
It is not. It wasn't mentioned in the submittal.
Okay.
I only directly addressed the questions that were in the on the site visit in there.
Okay, would it be possible for you to give us in writing the kind of proposals that you were
Certainly.
adding?
Yep.
I know I would like an opportunity to review this a little more thoroughly and go over what you can give us in writing about your description of the changes and the proposals, and address this at at the next meeting before we vote. Perhaps also start drafting a proposed order of conditions in the meantime. or drafting conditions that would address the issues that have been raised.
Sarah, do you think you can get that for us for the next meeting?
I'd be happy to get it for you tonight if required. more than happy. Not a heavy lift. Can make that happen to you by first thing tomorrow, if nothing else. Yeah,
Thank you.
not a problem.
Molly, Tom, any thoughts?
I'm fine with that. That sounds good.
Yeah, I'd love to see more detail about it. Since Wayne's here too, I think we talked about on the sidewalk a winter salting and sanding protocol for this area. I don't know when we want to discuss that.
We have, I wasn't at the site walk, but we haven't talked about it yet in detail. Obviously, it's a tough challenge because both Newbury, West Newbury and Newburyport uses salt on the roads, so no one drives off the road. I could talk about maybe a reduction of salt because we'll have protection with, I believe we're doing a berm, Sarah, on both sides or something to keep.
Well, is
Micah,
the
were we proposing guardrails on both sides?
Yeah, we've been discussing maybe a Cape Cod berm underneath
Yep.
something very low profile.
Yes.
Just to direct the water towards the water quality, the catch basins and on the water quality units.
And then they would have a guardrail up as you approach on both approaches, correct? Extended beyond the bridge.
Yes, to the project limits.
Yep. Yes, to the project limit. So we could talk about that, Molly, with Newburyport. So we have to get on board with them. I mean, I could do a reduced salt, but I have to do salt out there. I have no other treatment, and I'm not gonna go get beet juice for 300 feet of road. You know what I'm saying? It's just impossible to apply it for such a small section where today 100% of that material is going into the river, as we know how we used to salt it. So this will be a huge improvement. At least we all getting treated. No matter what we use, will be treated. So not a big issue. I think we should flag that for both Newburyport and our town to at least have a reduction of salt.
Could you get together with Newburyport and let us know whether we both agree that a reduction is possible and what the reduction would be?
Sure. I mean, it's the calibrations are not as rocket science between both our towns. I could speak for Newburyport also, and for my town, we have a dial that's 1 through 10, and it doesn't really mean much. It just means a real lot and a wicked little. So I mean, I might have to talk to Newburyport about putting on wicked little. So I can't tell you it's going to be 3 pounds per 100 feet, because I'll be honest with you, we can't even calculate that if we tried, but we could turn it down. That's definitely something we could do.
Okay.
Are the
I'll reach
berms
out to
on the
them.
plan?
What was that?
Are the berms on the plan?
No, they're not at this stage, no. I have to talk to our highway engineer just to make sure that something's in there, just to direct the water. But the water quality units have been sized to cover this area and beyond for future work that may be done outside the project limits. So the water quality units can take all this water.
There was also talk there's a sidewalk. Is that what I heard on one side?
You are correct. There is a sidewalk.
Where is that on this plan? I don't see that. Oh, I see. Okay.
Just on the south side.
Yeah.
Will you be able to add the berms to a plan soon?
Yeah, I think we can at least show a cross section. A Cape Cod berm is only like 2 to 3 inches high. It's just meant to direct the water along, and it's not meant for anything related to traffic. So that's what was discussed.
Right.
Do those last long? If it's only 2 to 3 inches high and you have the trucks and stuff going over them?
The thing is that it'd be, the way we have discussed it internally is we'd want it under the guardrail so that the plows wouldn't come and take it out. So this has
Okay.
been kind of a discussion.
With your tax? No. You said you mailed the federal.
I only mailed one. I thought it was federal. I only mailed one. Remember?
Paul, you mute your microphone, please? Paul,
I said when I handed you to.
Or did you see any other check?
What was that?
can we mute Paul?
I muted Paul because I forgot that I'm
Thank you.
host at the moment.
They're the hero.
On that note, I'm gonna, who should I make host, just so I can at least make
Oh,
someone
it
else
goes
with that?
back to, it says Angus, but that's Jay.
Goes back to Angus.
Angus is Jay.
I'm not sure I can while I'm sharing. So I guess on that note, as soon as we're done, I will make sure it goes back.
Okay, there, any other questions? Or comments?
So we will, our next meeting is June 7th. So continue this to June 7th. Does that work?
Works for me.
Sounds good.
And if you get us whatever additional information you can, the sooner the better, so that we can circulate it and review it so we can be prepared to vote at the next meeting.
Absolutely. I will give you a quick, as discussed, a quick write-up about the qualified scientist for you. I can do it tomorrow, by tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thanks. And and any of the other changes that you discussed, maybe a description of some of the impacts.
Well, the other, as far as like land underwater, BLSF bank, there are no changes whatsoever. Riverfront area, the minimal impacts changes that we have, I did discuss in the addendum.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's something else that you wanted beyond that, there's a table of the change in the narrative on page 2.
We're going to come up with a cross-section showing that berm.
And so you're going to do, is your revision for the berm going to have a cross-section for that?
We'll put it on the cross section of the roadway just so you can see it and it'll be easier to visualize.
Okay,
It's just going to be very small, yeah, but it would direct the water towards the water quality units.
thank you. Okay. So this be continued to June 7th. And we are back. Next on the agenda is a continued hearing for 64 Bridge Street.
Good evening. Mike Seecamp here, Seecamp Environmental Consulting. And I'm representing Kenneth Cutcliffe, project proponent. We had a site walk on May 9th, I believe it was, on a Sunday. And 2 commission members were there, and we reviewed the wetland line on both sides of the wetland. And we also discussed dewatering methods, and it was requested that I put a description in writing. So what I did was I revised the project narrative, and additionally, it was decided that we should identify the trees that would be necessary to come down for the digging of the trench, the temporary impact to the wetland. So I went back out and looked at that, and I listed them in the revised narrative, which I sent along. Hopefully you folks have received that.
Yes.
Yes.
All of the trees, it looks like we can avoid any native trees. All of the trees, it looks like that we need to impact for the digging of the ditch right along the wetland lines on both sides are Norway maples. And there are 2 6-inch Norway maples on the B side, and then there are 2 saplings that are smaller DBH than that. And on the A wetland side, there is a 6, an 8, and a 12-inch DBH Norway maple. And then there are, let's see, 4 saplings of Norway maples. And the 8-inch and the 12-inch are actually in the buffer zone. They're not right on the wetland line. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions that the commission might have. But we confirmed the line. I added the dewatering component and the trees.
Yeah, I do have some questions. You say the stream has previously been designated as intermittent.
Yes. Well,
What
I
is
have
the
I have
size?
an email from Bert Cummins to that effect that he sent to Mr. Cutcliffe when Mr. Cutcliffe was initially looking into this project. So I'm not familiar with what project that determination was made, but apparently it was previously decided. And I remember one of the neighbors describing that it dries up every year. So
Do you
at
know-
at our first meeting.
My question is, do you know what the watershed size is?
I don't, but it's under a quarter of a square mile. Because that would be the tipping point where you'd have to confirm and do an engineering study. But I believe that either the agent had done a stream stats. I did not, since I had gotten a copy of that email from your
Okay, well,
agent, your former agent.
I have not seen that.
When was there work done in that area where this would have been, come up with an intermittent stream? Do we have any idea of what in that neighborhood was done so that we would have looked at the stream?
I don't.
Can I speak?
Yes.
I believe the commission was involved in the crossing of the stream for the construction of a leach field for 70 Bridge Street.
Which is which home, please, Wayne?
That is the abandoned house.
The one next door.
The blue one?
Or just down on the flat below 64 Bridge Street. But there was a crossing made sometime in the past. I have to assume that the Conservation Commission and the Board of Health were party to that, because I understand they crossed the existing wetlands to get to some higher ground at the back of their lot on the other side of the stream for a leach field. Their septic system apparently had failed.
It seems, I think, Wayne, that you're right. It seems that we did do a septic system somewhere around there. And that was some time ago, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. It was after my time on the commission, but I have no other knowledge of the timing.
What is, Mike, I don't know, what is the depth of this trench?
4 feet.
I didn't see anything in the notice that described how deep the pipe is going to be. And you added to the construction sequence that it's more likely that the trench will fill up with groundwater. So does that mean that the pipe is going through the groundwater, and does that have any impacts?
Well, this time of year, the water is at the surface. So in August, I suspect that it's not more than 3 feet below the surface. And that's why I suspect that it's more likely that we'll encounter groundwater into the trench than there'll be flow, given anecdotally that it dries up every summer. And it's below a stream bed, so that may not be. I mean, if it dries up even more than that, then we won't have to worry about dewatering. But I'm anticipating that we will encounter groundwater during construction rather than stream flow.
Well, at what depth is this pipe being installed?
I beg your pardon?
At what depth is this pipe proposed for installation?
It's going to be 4 feet below the surface. And that's to avoid frost, although it's unlikely that it'll freeze in the wetland. But when we get to the upland, it'll also be 4 feet below the surface. And that's where the ground freezes pretty deep. Wetlands tend to stay unfrozen underground.
And so is this 4-foot depth going to be, is that mean that do you believe that the pipe, do you know whether the pipe will then be going through groundwater? I mean, where is the groundwater?
Right now, the groundwater is right at the surface.
Right, sure, but how deep does it go?
It goes it goes down to bedrock most likely, because it's continuous. There's no reason to think that there's a perched water table in that area. A perched water table would be as if there's a clay layer and you get runoff coming off the surface of an area. It might ride along that impervious, but I don't think that's what we have out there. It's likely that it goes all the way to bedrock. And that could be 20 feet or less.
And when you say it's not likely, have there been any kind of borings to determine what is actually down there?
No, I don't believe there have been. But it's pretty likely that it's all soil within 4 feet. There's no indication that there's bedrock closer to the surface in that area. Now, when you get up onto Bridge Street, that probably changes because what we understand is that there's shale probably within 3 feet. I don't know. They did do testing up there, so borings, and that's why it didn't perk. That's why we're going across to the other side.
Right. I guess my question is, if there have been no borings, then how do you know that it's not a perched water table?
Well, even if it is a perched water table, then we just dig through the restrictive layer. That's not a problem.
Well, is that going to have any longer term impacts on the wetlands?
I don't think that it would, because it would be a continuous water table. You go down 20 feet, you might be at the level of the Merrimack River at high tide. That's a pretty low area.
Well, if you have a perched water table and you puncture it, that's not going to have any impact?
Not in a situation like that. I'm familiar with a situation where someone was building a pond and there was a restrictive layer. They were not working in a wetland, but they dug through the restrictive layer and the water came up, filled it right up right away. On the other hand, there's other situations where you could have a perched water table in a field, not in a stream bed, that if you dig through it, then it could cause like a drainage during when the seasonal high water table is normally perched over top. It would be like going down through a drain. But in a stream bed, it's not like I said, it's not likely that there's a perched water table. I've never encountered a perched water table in a situation like that. I've never heard of that. I know they just drilled a big pipe underneath the Hudson River in New York State near Newbury. Of course, that's mostly in rock, but this is something that's fairly common.
Where would your dewatering basin be located?
It would be downstream in the buffer zone.
Molly, did you go on this site walk?
I did.
Did you have any questions?
I mean, I think the perched water table question is interesting. I don't know. So you'd have to do a boring to see what the substrate is. I don't know what that entails, but it seems like that would be good knowledge to have. I would hate to see this changing the hydrology dramatically of that wetland, because it was really a lot of really nice wetland plants there.
Yeah, it's really is very well established wetland. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I really doubt that there's a perched water table in a situation like that. I think that the water table would be contiguous all the way down to bedrock.
I mean, just because we were on River Road looking at a site, because that, you know, that's a drumlin heading up off the river, heading whatever direction that is, south. And the wetland scientist there was saying how that wetland was a perched water table because of the drumlin effect and the glacial till. So I don't, you know, this isn't that far from that area.
Was that in a stream?
No, it was like a depression.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like there was another pipe once put across that stream in the right nearby. Is that your other commission member talked about that, Wayne?
Yes, it is my recollection.
So that would be 70 Bridge Street.
Yes, in order to access that property on the other side of the stream from the house, they had to come in from Church Street. The owner of Mr. Cutcliffe's property at the time was Al Thompson, and he allowed machinery to come across his property to access this island of leachable ground, let's say.
We must a filing on that.
Yeah, it would be interesting to
Must have a
map that.
place, yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially what we're doing, and it's
Mhm.
the next door property.
And my recollection is that you are not proposing a sleeved pipe.
I beg your pardon?
My-
Not proposing what?
A
Sleeve.
sleeved pipe.
Pipe
A
within a
sleeve
pipe.
pipe? We're
A pipe
proposing
within a pipe.
two pipes. One is a reserve.
Right, but I'm saying you are not proposing to have the pipe surrounded by another pipe.
Correct. However, if you wanted to make that a condition, I don't think that would be a big problem.
I feel strongly that that should be included in the order of conditions, because with a single pipe, you'll never know if it's leaking. Unless you
Right.
have some,
Yeah.
it's like a double-hulled oil tanker.
Right. Yeah, it would be the cost of the pipe would be more, but as far as construction, it wouldn't change anything.
Right, I am.
I would hope the commission would see fit to include that in their order.
It's certainly something that I would consider.
I like that idea, actually.
Yeah, and then I guess our other question for, putting PVC in the wetland is, is there some kind of reaction with the plastic, with the acidic environment of the wetland? Which we don't know really.
Well, we have retained a consultant to look into those issues and should have an answer to that before the next meeting.
Oh, good.
So.
And there must be a pipe that is approved and that they could recommend if the one that we're proposing doesn't meet your standards.
I would assume so.
Is there a description of the pipe that you are proposing?
It'll be a PVC pipe. That's a standard. That's what's used. It's used for drinking water. It's used for sewers.
Yeah. And I guess I would like to see if I can get a hold of Bert and see when this stream was determined to be intermittent.
Judy, I would try to pull up the orders of conditions for the house that he's talking about. It was Thompson. I don't know who lives in there now. And we did a leach field for that house when it was constructed.
Right, but it may not be on the computer.
Oh, well,
We can't pull it up right now.
yeah.
Let me
That's
ask you
70
this.
Bridge Street, right?
What difference would it make if this were not an intermittent stream?
I'm just wondering what kind of information was provided about the stream itself. Maybe someone did some borings. I don't know. I know that doesn't affect the intermittent or perennial determination, but.
And it wouldn't affect the construction of the pipe either. We have to go 4 feet down.
No, what would affect are setbacks.
Setbacks of,
It would be a 200-foot buffer
200
zone
foot and
versus
nothing in the first
100.
100. I don't have. I mean, how far from the stream is all of your work?
Just a small portion of the proposed house is in the buffer zone, within 100 feet.
Right, so, I mean, that would have, perennial versus intermittent would have an impact on construction.
Potentially.
Could you do some, small borings in the wetland area itself to see what kind of, layering there is there?
Well, that would be very similar to doing the project, because we'd be digging, you'd have to use probably a 6-inch diameter bore auger on the back of a mechanized vehicle.
There's nothing smaller that you can use for that?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, my handheld auger is 4 feet. And I know when we were augering in the wetland area, we were down pretty far. We were probably down 30 inches. We didn't go to the next layer. I'm not sure I could. Sometimes you hit rocks and it doesn't work too good, but I'm not sure what difference it would make if we hit a clay layer that was somewhat restrictive.
This is Wayne again. On my own property, there's like a foot of loam on top of clay, where I used to have a garden. So you get strange things in close proximity to each other.
Is that in this general area, or I'm not sure where you live?
Well, I'm
on Bridge Street. Or Church Street.
I'm on Church Street, but
Oh.
my property includes the wetlands just upstream from this proposed project.
Uh-huh.
So it's
So
basically, it's on the other side of the stream from where the house is proposed to be built.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's a higher ground, and it's where I used to have a garden many years ago. But I dug down one year and, you hit solid clay about a foot below the existing topsoil. Our daughter lives at just uphill at 70 Bridge Street, and her lot includes a nice patch of sand, which they used for their leach field, and a little bit of the shale that's evident on the proposed lot. So you get strange mixtures of things in close proximity to each other.
That's very similar to what we're dealing with here, because on the Bridge Street side, we've got the shale down maybe 30 inches down. I don't know the exact depth, but then and that's why the leach fields are over on the western side, and it's sand. Yeah.
64 Bridge Street never perked in the past, and people tried it several times.
Right.
And it never perked.
Yeah. So you're familiar with that stream. Do you question whether or not it dries up every year?
It virtually dries up. There might be a damp area, but I can't say that it dries up completely, no. But the flow is next to nothing in the dry weather, like in August.
Mhm.
In fact, earlier this year, it was quite dry, and then we had some rain, and then the day of your sidewalk, it was flowing pretty freely.
Yeah,
We were in a period of drought a while ago, too.
Yeah. It does vary.
I guess I would like to talk with Bert about that, and if you have a restrictive layer and remove it, then how does that not affect the hydrology?
well, I guess it would depend. But we're not up at the beginning of the watershed. We're down near the bottom of the watershed. So the likelihood that there is the likelihood that the water table isn't contiguous to bedrock, I would find, even if there is a clay layer, I would find very hard to wrap my head around. And it sounds like that this has already been done in this general area. And I'm not aware of any negative impacts from when they did it for 70 Bridge Street. So, but you might want to look back in your records.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be a file at the Conservation Commission and a file at the Board of Health.
No, I'm sure there's a file. We just have not had a chance to look for it.
Yep.
So could we continue this once more to see if our consultant has anything to say about the
pipe.
impact of the pipe?
Could I say something?
Sure.
Yeah.
We have an email from Burt Cummins on October 8th. It says, based on USGS stream stats data, the stream does not have a large enough watershed size or flow duration to be considered perennial. Unless field evidence documented otherwise, this is considered an intermittent stream and does not have a 200-foot riverfront area.
October 8th.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same email that I recall seeing. It sounds like the same thing.
We wouldn't have even done it if we couldn't, if it wasn't designated an intermittent stream. That would have killed the deal right there.
Could you identify yourselves, please, for the record?
Ken Cutcliffe.
And Sharon Cronin.
Thank you. All right, I think if we could continue this until our next meeting so that we can get the report back from Matt and also look into having a sleeved pipe, which I know they wouldn't have done when they did it, whenever they did that house, because that was quite a while ago. But it seems like more and more of the pipes that are going near are through wetlands. That's what they seem to be doing now, is putting a sleeve on them. Is that something that,
Yeah, you could just add that, you could just put that in the order of conditions.
the order of conditions, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so would you mind if we continue this then, and then we can get the report from the person we hired to look into that and probably add that into, you want us to add it as a condition, or do you want it to add it in your description?
We can add it onto the plan.
Okay,
We can
that
have
would
the
be,
engineer add it on the plan so that it's all in one place.
thank you.
And
We
I'd
would
like to,
also include it as a condition.
Okay, thank you.
sure, yeah. Are there any other things that, and who is going to be looking at oh, the pipe, the composition of the pipe?
Yeah,
You have a consultant that's looking into that?
yes.
And do you mind me asking what are they a chemist or are they just doing research?
Judy, what's Matt's
He's
background?
a wetland scientist.
What the scientist?
He's looking into a number of issues dealing with horizontal drilling and the construction and the impact of the pipe was one of the questions that he is going to be looking into.
I
So
see.
maybe
That's
somebody,
Matt. What's his last name?
Schweisberg.
Oh, Matt. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know Matt.
Yeah, so he, may be consulting with somebody else about that particular issue.
Okay.
Okay, so we can continue this then to our June 7th meeting?
Ken, is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Builders Lot A has been continued to June 7th. Next on the agenda is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for Middle Street Assessors Map R8 for the confirmation of resource area boundaries.
Hi, good evening. This is Bill Manuel from Wetlands and Land Management. And this is our second hearing after our site walk yesterday. Well, it's our first meeting after our site walk yesterday. Thank you for those two that attended on Sunday morning. We walked the wetland boundary. You put me to the paces and we augured in many locations. I think we found that the soils were fairly uniform in color and texture all throughout the wetland boundary. And we did not adjust any flags. So I'm asking that you issue an order of resource area delineation to confirm the wetland flags that are on the property. And then also confirm that I guess the best way to do this would be to confirm that the 25-foot offset and the 50-foot offset lines as shown on the plan that are on the subject property are accurate.
Okay, yeah, Molly and I were out there and we did not change any flags. It was there's some interesting areas, but a few feet here and a few feet there, and the soils changed. We did not confirm the line that was off the property, but that was delineated in a different, for a different project? Is that your understanding?
That's correct. I had flagged those wetlands for the present applicant for this lot when he owned 121 Ash Street. I had flagged the wetlands on his property for a septic system repair project.
And the line was accepted at that time?
The line, well, it was you issued a negative determination and I was not involved in those meetings. So you'd have to tell me what sort of review the commission did.
That was 121?
Right, 121 Ash Street.
Was that within 3 years ago?
Yes, it was, I want to say in the late summer or fall of 2020.
Why don't you just approve the ones on the property?
They need the setbacks.
Hmm?
They need the setbacks.
You got a date on that?
Did he say it was 121?
Did you say 121, Bill?
That's what I said, yes.
Let's see if we have a file for 121 there.
Did you find the plan, Judy?
No, I don't see a file for 121 Ash.
I stand corrected. I thought it was how time flies. I thought it was last fall. It was actually the fall. It was, there's a note on this ANRAD plan that says wetlands from 121. He calls it Middle Street, but I believe it's Ash Street, are from septic upgrade plan by Scanlon Engineering for Leonard D'Alessandro dated October 2nd, 2019.
So it's middle?
Yeah, try that and see if you come up with it.
Yeah.
What's the number, middle, Bill?
121 Middle.
121 middle.
That we have.
All right.
There it is.
Well, I mean, we issued a
Did we accept the wetland line, Judy?
well, if we issued a negative determination, we would have.
Okay, I don't remember doing that sidewalk.
It's reflected in the November 18, 2019 minutes. And by a 4-0-0 roll call vote, the commission made a negative determination based on the project's distance from the wetlands location, conditioned on a site inspection that establishes that the wetlands are accurately shown on the plans and the applicant's use of hay bale and silt fence erosion controls as shown on the plans.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent.
Lisa's the
Yeah.
hero.
How easy is that?
Perfect.
That's impressive. Okay. I move that we accept the confirm the delineation of the resource areas as shown on the plan and confirm that the setbacks as shown on that plan are accurate.
And can you give us a date on the plan, please, Judy?
Yep,
And it's dated what?
the date is March 12th, 2021.
Second.
Any further discussion? Dawn?
Aye.
Molly?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Judy? Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you. Next is a hearing on a request for a determination of applicability at 54 Church Street.
And what is this?
This is a request, the project description, it's 45 Church Street. Failed existing deck on the side of the house facing the wetlands. Proposed demolition of the frame and installing diamond pier footings so as not to disturb the land, and construct a new deck in the same footprint roughly 32 feet from the wetlands. Deck is currently on
Where-
8, what?
Where is this, Judy? Which?
45 Church Street.
45.
Deck is currently on 8 concrete footings less than 2 feet in the soil with the area surrounded in pea stone. Frame would be removed from old footings and footings would be left undisturbed. That's the area description. Work description is demo existing deck frame, leaving existing footings, lay out and install 8 diamond pier footings 32 feet from wetlands, frame and finish new deck, all demolition and construction to be done by hand. Now, the plan that was submitted has I'm not quite sure, there's no date on it. And it is a plan that was for a proposed addition and a proposed garage. I think that we would need to do a site walk to see where the wetlands are. And I mean, the deck should be obvious. But I'd propose that we schedule a site walk.
You need to put it on the plan too. Put the deck on the plan.
And also that we need to have a plan that shows the deck.
Well, it also should be dated.
Yeah, this one does not. Is the applicant here?
Jay, do you know which house this is or who this is?
Name is Angela Palmer.
That's not the house that sits down near the river.
No, it's not on the river side of the road. It's on the
opposite side?
Yeah, it abuts
Yeah.
the Mullins property.
Yeah, I just drove by it. It was on the right-hand side, heading back towards the bridge.
And can you see the deck from the street? Or is it in the back of the house?
I didn't check, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right, so site
I mean,
walk.
it's not even, nothing's shown on this plan at all.
Right, it would
Yeah.
be on the back, I would think.
Yeah.
If
Don't even know if these proposed additions were ever put in. So,
So
Yeah.
perhaps she should be, maybe Jay could contact her and tell her that we need a plan that shows the deck and the wetlands when dated, and that we need to schedule a site walk.
Yeah, either that or Jay can look at it and decide whether he thinks it's, we need a site walk, or he can look at, you're shaking your head, Jay? I can see the.
no,
chart.
that's fine. I don't mind doing that.
That was an affirmative shake.
It's the top of my head.
No, really, I mean, if you felt comfortable going and looking, and then we wouldn't have to do the sidewalk, or, if you think we should, then, we'll leave it up to you.
I can at least ask her to come up with a sketch showing
Oh,
how
yeah, something. better than that,
the
Yeah,
location of the deck and the approximate distance you think it is to the wetlands. If you want to, I could go out and check the actual distance, and
yeah,
and if you want to do that, if you don't want to have a site walk, that's fine with me. I'll find the time.
it's just the footings, is that correct? Is that what she's saying anyway?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just the
determine the
foot-
location.
Yeah, so really, if you go out and take a look at it, and we'll go by what you say.
I mean, we might need to have some erosion control between the demolition and the stream. All right, that is the last of the hearings.
Okay, there's a few other things we have to go over.
Right, we voted last time on Coffin Street Conservation Project.
Yes.
There's nothing on that. Other business.
Just the signing of the yes.
There is a for 13 Maple?
Yep.
We had issued a certificate of compliance for work that was done on 13 Maple Street on August 20th of 2018. Apparently, the owner never recorded the certificate and can't find it. Doing a closing on the property on Wednesday. She was given a certified copy of the certificate, but informed Jay that her attorney wanted a re-signed copy.
Oh, geez.
So Jay has printed one out. I amended it to say the certificate of compliance originally issued on August 20th, 2018 is reissued. So people okay with reissuing? Someone come in and sign?
Sure. A quick question. Is there a change of policy in terms of coming into the 1910 building just to sign those, or do we just pick those up
They're in
in
the
the
box.
vestibule?
We've
Okay.
got a box out in the lobby.
Mhm.
Between the inner and outer door, there's a
Yep.
WB Mason box.
Yep.
There's
Very-
conservation right on it. You can take a look at it. There's also another orders of conditions in there that need some signatures. If I didn't look at what the signatures were, but there was that was for what was it,
519 Main Street.
519 Main
think
Street. So
I'm
in order for
fine.
me to get conditions out for that, I need to have the signatures for that too. And it's going to be coming up to 21 days here by next Monday. So if you guys could sign that certificate of compliance for that woman so she could do her thing on Wednesday, and also sign the 518 Main Street, I can get them both out before the 21-day period.
Okay, sounds good. I'll put it on my calendar right now. Thanks, Jay.
All right, we will.
Hey, do you need the thing that you were just talking about for Danielle? Do you need tomorrow then?
Well, she'd like it tomorrow. I said we'd do what we could.
Okay.
I don't know you guys' schedules, so that was the only, I said, we'll do what we can for you, and I'd like to close on Wednesday, so if you could do it sometime, she could even swing by Wednesday morning, I imagine.
Okay.
Pick it up if
Tomorrow I have-
majority of signatures.
Okay.
If you put it down there tonight, I can come do it
Yeah.
first thing in the morning.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Okay.
I am not sure how I can do it tomorrow. That's all. My day starts at 7.
Tom,
Okay.
can you do it?
Yeah, I have it on my calendar for 8 a.m.
Okay, and did you sign the 519 yet?
I have not, so I'll sign that if it's in the box.
Okay.
Find that. I'm not sure. Has
Excellent.
that been in the box long, Jay?
Well, it's been there for the few days anyway.
Well, no, but I was in there Thursday or Wednesday or whatever it was, and I signed whatever was in the box.
But then
And
you
had I
probably,
signed?
you probably did already.
Okay.
There was a couple
Don,
signatures
did you see
already.
mine on there?
I
I
didn't even
can't
notice.
remember.
It's not in the box.
Oh, God. All right. Anything?
All right, if that don't get signed, I'll just check it over and see who's missing on that, but I think we'll have everything. If you guys would just, Tom, you and Molly would do it tomorrow, I think we'll be all set. That'd be perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Then my thing is, we need to do the job description for Jay. for hiring somebody, and that should be done as soon as possible so we get it posted.
You need to consult with Angus about his,
I did today.
and what did he say?
It needs to be done as soon as possible.
Did he say anything about what Merrimack
Right now,
is
he's
looking at?
working with them. We discussed some things that were possibilities that we could do, but I'm not exactly sure how we go about doing this at this point. But he was feeling that if we could get it out there, we might end up getting somebody, you know, right out of school.
All right, well, Molly, you and I we'll get together.
Yeah, that sounds good. Wednesdays and Fridays are better for me, Judy. I don't know what
Okay.
your schedule is.
And then Molly, did you get the thing about the invasive plants?
I did.
Okay, can you work with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I
What
see.
needs to be, so I just looked at it right before the meeting, but so what we have the rest of you seen that Wendy sent out?
No, I have to,
Okay.
I'll send you a copy of the contract. You can take a look
Yeah.
at that before we sign it. And then you're working with Nancy, is that what her name is?
Nancy Powell, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But is that who we're contracting with, or it was the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, right?
Yeah.
So is that not Jen Hughes?
I
Or is
believe
that?
Yeah. But how did we leave it with Nancy?
Wait a minute, what is this for?
This is to understand the invasives in town.
Yeah.
I have a copy of it here. Do you want me to share my screen so you can see
Yes,
it?
please.
Okay.
This is from the woman on River Road, correct? That we
Yeah.
met with last week?
This is for all the invasives.
Oh, I need to be enabled to share my screen.
This was not she came in last time to discuss whether she needed to do an RDA or an NOI.
Right.
Yeah,
This is not that.
No, this is something else. Hold on.
You're all set, Molly.
All right, here we go. See if I can find it. That's not it.
She just sent it out.
Yeah. Okay. So technical support services.
But I think before
So
we
it looks like it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said I think before we do anything with Nancy, it would be nice to have this in place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think this would facilitate whatever we do with Nancy, because this
Yep.
would at least give us some understanding of what we need to do for large scale invasive. I'm sorry, am I scrolling too much? This is so would this be with Jen Hughes, since it's Merrimack Valley Planning Commission?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so. I think there's a signature page that might say that. I'm not sure.
Could you forward that?
Yep.
I can forward it to you, Judy, or Molly, you can forward.
Okay.
I mean, I read better on paper.
Right. Okay.
I think it's just a standard contract, Judy. I don't, looking at it like this, I think it's something that they must use and just plug in the name of the town.
Right.
Well, I mean, how much is it for? Don't we have to vote to approve
The figure is a little over $1,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, it said 1250, but that was for 10 hours, right? We had talked about
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything about 10 hours. That's the only thing I'd have a concern about.
It says total cost of project not to exceed $1,250 for MVPC staff time, so.
Yes. So do you want to vote on that before we do the signature? before you take a look at it, Judy?
Do I want to vote before I look at it?
Well,
Vote if that's an appropriate number, I think, for what we want to.
Yeah. We can also put a contingency on it that, if we have to change the figure after review of contract by our legal representative, we can. I don't know how to word that, but.
What, there was a discussion of some hourly rate? Was that?
It doesn't look like that.
It doesn't say anything about.
It doesn't say anything about how many hours we expect.
No, it just gives us a price.
Well, wouldn't we want to know how many hours we are talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bert, could you get hold of Jennifer and ask her how many hours this was for?
You mean Jay?
I mean, Jay, I'm sorry.
Oh, you can ask Bert.
Oh, you people could just lock me in a room somewhere. That's okay.
Oh, I'll do that if you want. When
Yes,
you forward this thing to me, and I'll forward it over to Judy, okay? Just so I have it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'll forward it to
So
both.
is it critical to vote on it tonight?
I don't know. I would say that we could vote on it the first meeting in June.
Right, I mean, because I'm loath to vote on something, on a contract that doesn't have
the number of hours,
the parameters of what you're paying for.
Well, I think that's, I'd like Jay to talk with somebody.
So why don't we get the information? How many hours?
Is the 1250 for?
Yeah, and is that, if it's 10, is that sufficient?
They might think so.
Why don't we put it off till the first meeting in June and can look at it and get the hourly number of hours.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I could probably talk to someone and have them,
Fill you in.
and answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jay.
All right.
we have a backlog of minutes. Have people had an opportunity to look at the March 1st?
Oh, March 1st.
Executive session minutes?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
What
I did
meeting
look at this.
first? Can someone just refresh me? I remember reading them, but
Well, I'm wondering, do we? I actually think that this was the executive session on the Coffin Street Conservation Project. And I believe that all of this information is now
public?
public.
Okay. So we can vote on it, right?
Yeah, and I think so people have read them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would move that we approve the minutes of the executive session of March 1st, 2021, and post them as public, since the purpose of the executive session since the purpose for the executive session no longer exists.
Second.
Any further discussion? Molly?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Tom?
Was I there? I'm sorry.
Let me just check.
You were.
I'm sorry, I had my COVID shot and my memory is failing me since then. So I remember reading this, but yes, I'll vote aye.
Judy, aye. We also had minutes from the meeting of March 15th, 2021.
I'll move to approve.
Second, any further discussion? People had an opportunity to read the amendments,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Dawn,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Molly,
Aye.
Judy, aye. April 5th, I was not there, so.
I move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Dawn,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Molly,
Aye.
Judy, abstain. We have minutes from April 15th, 2021. Have people had an opportunity to read them?
Yes.
I was not in attendance.
You were not there, Tom.
Yeah, I was in Florida.
I move that we accept the minutes of April 15th, 2021 as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion?
This says, oh, right, that was the 6 p.m. meeting, right? Okay. No discussion. I was confused because it said it adjourned at 6:30, and I was like, well, that's very okay.
Dawn,
Aye.
Molly,
Aye.
Tom,
Abstain.
Judy, aye. I have not had an opportunity to read the April 26th.
Well, then we can hold that off.
minutes.
Yeah, I'll hold that.
Okay.
Is that
So-
it?
Yeah.
No, didn't we
Okay,
have
here's-
May 3rd?
Molly and I have not done them yet.
Oh, I sent
Oh,
you
that's
my
right.
minutes.
Molly sent them. Molly just sent them over. That's right. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen them.
I just sent them like right before the meeting. So
Oh.
There's one other thing. Are we supposed to, I think we are supposed to sign the agreement that was to pay Jay?
Yes.
Yeah, that's up here too. I have that.
Are you putting that in the box downstairs?
I will. I think you can just sign that.
Jay, do you want to come by? I'll be at my mom's house tomorrow after 7 till like late in the afternoon. Do you want to do that? And then I can sign all that stuff?
Late in the afternoon?
Yeah. If not, that's all right. I'll go by there. It would be like after 3 o'clock.
All right, let's see. Tom and Molly are gonna be coming.
Yep.
Judy's already signed it, so for the
Great.
COC, we really don't need you.
Okay, that's fine then.
But for the signing of my thing, I don't know if there's a,
It might be the chair.
see, to that. Is there?
We should get it done so that Angus can have it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll leave myself a note now, but it won't be until late in the afternoon.
Well, that's
But
fine.
Yeah.
Jay can sign it tonight and leave it in the box
Yeah.
and you can sign it.
Okay.
Whenever.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we want you paid. Is that it, people?
That is it.
Hooray.
How about a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
For a second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.